All righty, welcome. This is Penelope, and
Hello.
y'all know me, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. So let's see. You were just saying that a moment ago. You were saying that you are a little bit new to Socionics, and this is something that you're diving into and enjoying quite a lot.
hmm
So I just want to give you some introduction. Is there anything you want to say yourself to introduce yourself, or
Oh my goodness, to introduce myself.
I put you on the spot?
Yes, I would say yes, I'm a nerd when it comes to sociology, really interested, really obsessed. And I'm excited about discovering the theory more. If there's one thing to know about me is that I think about this pretty much every day.
There you
So I
go.
think that could be a good introduction. And I also have my little YouTube channel, and I try and talk about that a bit, but it's still new. It's like I'm sharing what I'm learning
Oh,
as
okay.
I go along.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
cool. Well, we can put that in the description then, so people can find you.
No need. That's okay.
Okay, all
It's okay.
right. Well, you can always let me know. I can do it later if you want.
Okay,
Um,
sure.
okay, cool. So, I tend to start with a pretty broad question, to kick things off. So, the question I want to ask to jump in is, if you had to describe yourself in one way, what's the one thing that if you left out, it wouldn't really be you?
Ooh, I'm hesitating between two things.
Okay.
So that's not one way. Okay. I would say I'll take it's one's negative and one's positive. So I'll take the positive one since
Okay.
it's the start, I'll leave the negative for later. But I would say intellectual
Mhm.
would be a big word. So I know I appear very soft, very feminine and everything, and that's great, and I love that.
Mhm.
But I would say that most of my days are spent reading and researching and analyzing, and I really love it and find a lot of meaning from learning about theories or learning about the world. And it's mostly geared towards psychology and humanity, things like that. But I think that if you were to leave that out, then my life would be sort of empty if you removed all the moments of me learning.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay. Yeah. So it's very important
intellectual.
to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So what's the negative thing that you were talking about then?
The negative thing would be it's not that I'm dramatic, but I have a story with like mental illness. So I have a lot of anxiety. There was a time before where I had three anxiety disorders and a major depressive episode. And so now I've grown a lot. I've went to therapy and everything, and I have my diagnosis, so I know I'm neurodivergent, etc. But I would think that a big way for me is how important this mental health thing it's really important in my life. It's like one of my priorities to make sure that my life is, you could say, like simple enough for
Mm.
me to digest it well
Mm.
and be like very stable and calm and okay. But it's
Mm.
a big part of my personality.
Yes. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, cool. I wouldn't say that's too terribly negative. Um,
No, sure, but it's still a bit of a flaw.
yeah. Well, it's giving you some direction as well. So,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
that's
All right. So you said you're interested. You're like the kind of person that you're interested in a lot of different like theories and like, types of knowledge and things like that. Can you give me a little bit
right.
more of a sense of what that means and what that looks like?
Yes, I think it's like I am curious, but I do have a bit of like a narrow focus too.
Mm.
So it's the same topics that I've been obsessed with for years, and it's
Mm.
really psychology. I studied psychology and I loved it, and it was like anxiety, depression, mental health, how to heal those things. So that was my focus for a while. And then I discovered typology, and I love that. And that can take the form of, the cognitive functions, but also Enneagram and also astrology, which is obviously not a real thing, but as an archetypal system, absolutely amazing. So a bit of astrology too. And yeah, the typing goes into this other thing that I have, which is like seasonal color analysis and Kibi body type, which are theories that place you in category for you to dress well.
Mm.
And I would say these are my interests, and they've been the same for like years.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. It's very interesting. Huh.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So, you described it as something that you do that's intellectual. Um, would you say that that sort of comes easily for you. I guess in particular, I'd be curious about how it's been learning socionics, just because socionics can be kind of complicated, I think, especially for newcomers. So,
Mhm.
has taking in that information been challenging, or do you feel like it comes naturally?
Mm, I don't, how can I answer that? I don't think it's been challenging. It's challenging because it is complex. So you do need to work hard at it and you need time and patience and cross-referencing and triangulation and blah blah blah. But I I don't think it's challenging that much. No, it's just because I'm new to it. I'm diving into the models a bit more,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a tendency to want to simplify
Hmm.
things. And I don't know if that gives any clues to my functions or whatever, but I do like to simplify. I think that when things get too rigid, too complicated, and too precise, you lose the truth of it and you lose a way to actually apply it in daily life or to people.
Hmm.
So I appreciate the rigidity of socionics because it brings clarity to something that's kind of muddled up in neo-Jungian ways. You know, it's like you could almost be any type now.
Hmm.
Socionics stops that by being much clearer about what a function is and isn't. But I do think also at the same time it might be a little bit too rigid where you get lost and lose the fundamentals of how to apply it to someone. But that could change. That is just my opinion now as a newcomer. It can
Yeah, yeah.
definitely change the more I dive into it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, no, that's I think we agree on that it should be, simplified in some ways.
in
Certainly.
summer.
Yeah. Okay. So what kinds of stuff do you like to do?
Uh, well, yeah, it's pretty much that. Okay, besides like learning about this, which is something that I do often, pretty much every day, and I'll read different things and it's for fun too. It's not just to know the truth. I want to know the truth, but I also want it to be fun. Besides that, I love reading,
Mm,
mostly nonfiction,
mm,
but I've been diving a bit more into fiction, even though I have a hard time sort of most fiction books are really stupid and I don't know how to explain it. I know it sounds bad, but it's just I don't find the characters appealing. They're not teaching me anything. They're not making me think about things. So generally I have a hard time. And then I really love gaming a
mm,
lot. I
mm,
really, really do love gaming. So I can be boring because I don't do much. Everything is more in my head. So
mm,
if someone else was to observe me, it would be like really boring and uninteresting. But that's okay. I've learned to accept that about myself. But no sports, no activity, no going out, no friends. I have zero friends. I know that's bizarre, but that, yes, zero friends. And so it's a very sort of recluse but rich life.
Introverted. You describe
Well,
yourself.
yeah, I feel introverted. I live the life of an introvert,
Mm,
but I don't know if that's what I really am,
yeah.
but it's my lifestyle. Yeah,
Okay. Very cool. Um, it sounds nice. It actually sounds
it
real.
does. Yes, I love my own company. I love my brain, and generally I'm a happy person. Sometimes I get lonely, but I have my family
Mm.
and my cat, so it's fine. It doesn't feel that lonely at the end of the day. Yeah.
What's your cat's name?
Miyuki.
Miyuki?
Yeah, it's a weird name, but it's like I think it's Japanese
Ah,
for either snow or good fortune.
oh, okay.
One or the other. I'm not certain. So yeah, I thought it was cute.
Both are good, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Um, hmm. Yeah. So you said a lot of nonfiction. So what kinds of nonfiction do you read?
Well, that is a really good question. I have lots of books here that I'm supposed to read, but I haven't been reading them. I just keep buying them all the time. But most of them have to do, it's mostly about psychology still.
Hmm.
I have a neurodivergent profile, so I'm gifted and I have ADHD, but I still sort of don't understand really truly how it manifests in life. And so I buy a lot of books about that. I buy books about any sort of typology. So Surrounded by Idiots, I think it's based on this. I'm curious about that. Spiritual books too. I liked Deepak Chopra or Eckhart Tolle or Why Smart People Hurt was a great book. Like I just anything that could sort of teach me about being a human being, but also a healthy one
Hmm.
that is wise, I will be interested and I will buy it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Very cool. Huh. So how about we shift gears and talk about like, so you said, you don't have a lot of people in your like social sphere, but
Yes.
I'm sure, just recalling on like past experiences or, interactions you've had in the past, like how are you like socializing? Do you feel like
Well,
go ahead.
well, I was good and I'm not good anymore. So for example, in my school years up until high school, I was very popular. The popular girl. I think I was a bit bitchy and I didn't notice it.
Mm,
As like really, I thought I felt kind, but I think I was a bit rough because people annoyed me.
mm,
But I was more like, yeah, the lots of friends, always out type of person that went along and just, yeah, popularity. I loved it. I would high five everyone in the corridors and I love it. And I think, yeah, my mental health sort of degraded like 1920. And it was a time after high school and also family things that was going on and everything. It felt just very dark and I was very angry.
mm,
And lots of pain was resurfacing from my childhood, like a bit of childhood wounding, of just being unlovable and unimportant. It was really dark and sad. And I think that I tried like making new friends because I moved too. And so I lost most of my friends. I moved from city to city, was like 3 hours away from where I went to school. And I think that's quite big. It's not just 30 minutes, you know. And yeah, it was a time where I felt deeply rejected and suddenly invisible for some reason.
mm,
And so then my mental health, I sort of became a recluse to, I don't know, protect myself or focus on my mental health. I had a relationship at that time that lasted 7 years, but I lost all the friends that I had. I gradually lost them. I didn't want to go out. I didn't like clubbing. I had no interest in clubbing or going to bars. And I sort of decided that I just wanted to find myself and be myself. Who that was, I didn't know, and it needed to be important.
mm,
And it became my focus. And I think that because of that, being social sort of went away. And the more I became myself, the harder it was then to bridge the gap I was creating by becoming authentic,
mm,
right? Because you're so far away from people, they're not bringing you back to like the social norms in a way. Like you're always alone, you're being you.
mm,
And then when you're coming back, it's like, oh, you look like a unicorn. I would be called that, or I would be called space with the new people that I would meet.
mm,
Just, I don't know. I think I wasn't pretending to be cool or anything, and I wasn't trying to be popular anymore. I was just me. And I think it became a bit more difficult to understand other people,
mm,
weirdly.
mm.
Yeah.
How do you think you managed?
After that,
No, I mean just with that, after that, either way, both.
how I think I managed generally with that situation? Well, I think I managed pretty well. But I still have things that I have to face. The metaphor I always use is like let's say, in astrology, everything's in Leo. So I often use that as an image and that um, maybe I shined before or whatever, but it can also attract people who hate you for some reason. That was my experience in high school
Mm,
from some people. And it was that feeling that I still sort of do, which is to be as invisible as possible and as small as possible, to not evoke that sort of hate in other people. And
mm,
that I would just cut my mane every day to
mm,
not stand out, like to not be proud or to not be myself in some sort of way. And I think I still need to heal that routine of just cutting my mane every day and just letting it flow and be me. And gradually, I think I'll do that. I'm slowly getting out of my shell, but I'm still in this sort of protective place, I
mm,
think.
mm. Wow. Okay. Hmm. How would you say you are with new people?
It really depends on the context.
Mm.
Um,
A
like
stranger.
right now,
Hmm.
uh,
A stranger. I mean, this is a little bit different I wouldn't use this one as an example because
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So I wouldn't go with this example, but like if you were just out and about, maybe you had some chores you had to do or something like that, and there was someone on the bus or on the train or something like that, and you
Oh,
like, how would you be if they started to talk to you or interact with you?
that depends. I can be really not nice. Like get off me because I can be scared. It depends. Like, is it a man? Does he look really strong? And
Mhm.
does he look creepy? If
Mhm.
he talks to me, I'll back off, I'll try it just kind, curt, polite, to the point, leave. But if it's someone else that looks like they're not a threat or something, I think
Yeah.
generally I'm a bit I'm a bit shy. I let other people come to me. But I think I'll just be polite. I'll listen, I'll validate, I'll ask questions, but I won't be sure, like, do I end the conversation there or not? Like, even at school, for example, I was doing this master's degree and there were people and I was surrounded by people, but I didn't really develop any friendships. I didn't really know how to bridge the gap between, like, we're together in these classes and we're talking about personal stuff and we're in breaks together and blah blah blah. But now I don't talk to any of them. So I think it's like a sweet, because that's how I'm described by people who don't know me really well, like a sweet, a little flower.
Mhm.
It's fine, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I appear.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So a little standoffish, sounds like.
I think so. I hope I'm not lying, but I think I can be a little bit, yeah, a little bit cold looking when I'm not actually cold. I'm just
I
unsure.
can tell you're not cold. Yeah.
Yeah, right now,
Yeah.
because I'm being me and I'm not shy, but I think it's the shyness, or I don't know how much of it is social anxiety and just not knowing the right way to say something. And it might be that. And so I'm protecting myself. And I don't know how much
Yeah.
of it is the
Yeah.
social anxiety.
Do you feel like when it comes to other people, you tend to have a sense of like what they're going to be like or like where things are going? Does that make sense?
Uh, yes, generally, very quickly. And I know I'm arrogant when I do that because how can I know? But I'm just certain type of the type of person. Are they healthy? Do they have trauma or not? Are they narcissistic or not? Um, are they ego driven or actually kind? Where are they in their evolution, you could say? I have like an immediate sense of that. And I obviously don't say it, but it's just a feeling. And often it's confirmed. Like I think for me, it's easy to see that state of a person. It's not like you won't know every detail about them, but it is like a vibe,
Hmm.
you could say.
Hmm.
And I always end up doing that anyway. Like when I'm talking to people, I'm sort of unconsciously or automatically sort of psychoanalyzing them a little bit and then trying to guide them to the right place or trying to calm them. And like if I feel they're anxious or if they're angry, I try to give them perspective,
Hmm.
things like that. And it's a bit tiring.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. So what about work? What do you do for work?
Work. I don't really want to work. Um, yes, so I don't work currently. I just finished my master's degree. I
Okay.
was working like in the summer at a fun little student job selling beauty products.
Mm-hmm.
But I am currently looking for a job. My master's isn't really truly done. My research project hasn't been graded yet. It's going to be done like probably in September or October. But I'm looking for a job. And am I excited? Not really. I know I have to do it. I've been thinking about it for years. It's something I have to do. And I would say it's a fear of doing something very meaningless. That is a big fear of mine, being stuck in something meaningless that's going to make me depressed. Also the fear of everything that's around it. So you work a lot, right? Like it's a lot of hours in a week to work, and you have to get there, the transport, the making lunches, preparing what you're gonna wear, all the logistics of it, you could say, like the planning around it, the physical things you have to do. Like I'm highly sensitive, so I can easily have some anxiety. In the past, it was panic attacks. Now it's not as bad.
Mm.
I'm medicated for it, and I also have done lots of therapy to not be as anxious. But it's still a fear. Like, am I going to be overwhelmed by the world? Am I going to be like super tired at the end of the week? And how can I sustain that for years and years and years working? So I'm trying not to be that fearful, and I'm trying to see it more objectively, that it is going to be fine, and I can find a recipe at one point, maybe hybrid work, where like I'm more able to manage my time and my space. But it is a big challenge for me. Like I'm in that big leap, you could say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. Okay, so it sounds like you have a very particular sense of what kind of experience you want to have, or like what kind of, you know, I suppose, when you're looking for this job, it sounds like you're almost looking for just a certain, there's a certain particularness in you picking the experience that you're going to be subjected to, and more so than, it sounds like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like more so than just, whether it's like it pays well and it's in a good location or something like that. It sounds like it's a lot more about like what you're doing, whether you'll enjoy it.
Yes, a little bit. Of course, I think about like where it is, because if let's say it would take 2 hours in traffic, it's better if I don't take that job. So I do think of that a little bit, but ultimately, even if it's a really good job and it pays well and it's near my home, but it feels empty and like too well devoid of meaning or just uninteresting, or that would be very hard for me. But perhaps I could accept it. I don't know yet. I
Mm-hmm.
really am going to experience this and I will see where I land, but I would like for it to feel meaningful to me.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
to be worth it.
Okay.
Mm.
So would you say that's more important than, like if it pays well, or would you say it's, go ahead.
Yes, yes, it is because I'm 32 years old and
Mm,
I'm still not in a career, and I went back to school at 26. If money was important for me, I would be working, I would have been working way earlier.
mm,
Probably 10 years ago, I would already be in my career and like having studied business, and it wasn't a priority. It's never really been, but I know it has to be,
hmm.
and
Hmm.
everyone has to work and make money. It's important. But no, I would say, yeah, the meaning of it is more important than the rest.
And it's
Yeah,
about the meaning of it to you, your personal meaning in it, right?
I think so. I, yeah, because it's my life, right? I'm experiencing it. If everyone loves something, but I'm miserable doing it, that would be a horrible life. So yes, I want it to feel that it's worthy in my eyes. I do want it to have a positive effect on people.
Mm,
Like I wish to be useful. That's what I'm trying to say to myself. You're going to be useful. You're going to help people, right? They're going to need you and you're going to be there for them and be paid for it. That's wonderful. That is my rational voice, you could say, reasonable or logical voice.
yeah. Yeah. Huh. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I suppose when I was saying that it means something to you personally, I was
Mm.
mostly referring to it in contrast to like picking something that has a greater meaning in terms of everybody else, um or like other people, or it sounds like you are very focused on what it means to you, but I want to give you the chance to speak to that as well.
I think so. I mean, I'd like to think, yeah, I think so. My life seems to be more about me doing what I find meaningful than truly thinking of how something's meaningful to others. Um, it's hard to put into words this question, but I think you're right.
Mm.
I don't know how to explain it. It's like I do care about the effect it's going to have on others,
Right.
but I'm seeing how, not selfish, that's not what I want to say, but how self-centered my life and my interests
Mm,
are
mm.
in a way.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say that it's self-centered necessarily in the negative sense
Yeah.
of the term at least, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
But yeah, I certainly think that that you have a very good understanding of what is important to you and what matters to you. Um, yeah,
I think
yeah,
so. I
really,
hope so. Yeah.
yeah. Um, let's see. Do you struggle do you struggle with things in your life that require you to, I suppose, that are like utility driven or oriented? Do you feel like it can be difficult to manage like the practical day-to-day monotonous type of activities?
Yes, I think that is a tough question because there are two sides to this question. So in a way, I eat very healthy. I manage my money well. Every day I eat little and well. I always I keep a healthy weight. I weigh myself every week. I have my agenda. I write everything in it. I have alarms. I never forget anything. But it feels like this is sort of new in a sense that before I was a bit more forgetful. But
Mm,
the utility practical part of it, I still don't cook.
mm,
I get so stressed about cooking. I get stressed about going to the garage. I get stressed about putting gas in my car because I'm like, if I arrive there and there are like cars at every pump, what do I do? Do you
mm,
know what I mean? Like, what do I do honestly? If
yeah,
I park there and then this other car just leaves, do I like go there then, but then I miss the spot and then someone else takes my spot? And it makes me super anxious. And so I don't even go to put gas in a car generally. Or I'll go, but it really stresses me out. What else is practical besides cars and cooking? I don't think I do anything else that's practical.
yeah,
Do you have a,
you keep it pretty simple. Um,
I think so.
yeah, okay. So that pretty much answers my question.
Okay.
Do you desire to be a lot more like practically oriented or have a confidence when you do those types of things?
Oh, the first instinct response, like instinctual response, is no.
Mm.
I would like that to be away from my life. I don't care. I don't know. Like I feel it is such a burden. What's strange is that you're forced to do that as a human being. You're forced to do that, and everyone looks at you like you're super weird that you're not doing those things. Yet I do so many things that other people never do, like open a
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm getting pissed, but it's crazy. Like my whole life, I do so many things other people never ever do. But to them, it's like, oh, but of course I don't do that. It's normal. And it's me that's weird. And I find that very annoying.
yeah. Mm,
Does it have any link? Do I make sense right now? Because I'm trying to do it so that other people are sort of proud of me, I guess, or I'm not a burden on anyone, but generally living my life, I don't think I'm gonna care that much. I'll find like loopholes.
right,
I'll order my groceries online.
right.
I'll maybe not have a car. I'll just try and find ways around it, I think.
Yeah. Hmm. No, I think what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, give me a moment.
yes.
Hmm. Okay. So, so you don't necessarily have a strong pull to be a more practical individual or to add more pragmatic value. Um, I suppose something that shocks me a little bit is that when you were talking about not wanting to do it, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but you do end up doing these things, these practical things,
Yes,
either way, right?
that
So,
is very true.
I imagine it's got to be difficult to have to struggle so much through it, right? So, I mean, surely on some level, you'd like to get to a place where you don't have to um, struggle through it, or that, it comes a little bit smoother.
I think I understand what you're talking about. It depends on the things that I do every day, like taking care of my health and my weight and eating well, etc. And planning my life, I guess. Does that fit into the thing, or am I going in another
Oh,
direction
yeah,
here?
yeah,
It
go ahead.
fits.
Mm,
Okay. So this, it did come from lots of learning and understanding that to be less anxious and to be more mentally well and less into suffering, that I had to sort of get some sort of control and order in my life, even if it would be really difficult. And so I've integrated that. It's still hard because, for example, if my alarm doesn't ring to take my medication, I just won't take my medication. If my alarm doesn't ring to feed my cat, I will not feed my cat. It's insane. I've been doing every day for like years. And if my alarm doesn't ring or I just miss the alarm and I do something else, it will not get done. And these are things that I guess I do feel guilty. There is a guilt that is like, okay, I have to get a bit my shit together. Like this is it is important because I have to be an independent person
mm,
that is not a burden on anybody. I don't want to constantly need others my whole life. And I would just like to just do my own thing. But I also know that there are ways around it that it doesn't have to be a focus in my life, but it is still sort of, you could say, ordered or taken care of. It isn't as much of a flaw
mm,
as before.
mm,
So my aim is that I can get to a place where I am mentally, emotionally well.
mm, mm,
And often doing those things really, really helps.
mm,
Or removing some of them and not feeling guilty about that. Right.
mm, mm.
I don't know if that makes sense. I'm trying to be as honest as possible.
No, you're doing great. You-
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Trying.
Um, let's see. Yeah, so hmm, there was something there. Um, so when you talk about like keeping up with your environment and in your home and things like that, are these things
Yes.
that like stress you out, or do you enjoy doing them? Or does it feel like, yeah, is it something that you like to work on, or is it something that if you didn't have to do, you wouldn't do it?
What a good question. I'm thinking about like cleaning or washing my clothes or and I forget about those things
Mm,
most days and not, and I'm really happy. I just won't think about it at all. Up to a point where like I walk and there's lots of like dust and then I feel, oh my God, I'm not clean, and then I'll
clean
pass
it.
the broom
Yeah.
and it ends there, you know. I am really happy not thinking about these things. It's more like the important stuff in that realm that I try to, like my health. I don't want to die, I guess, or be sick. So, I'm always really aware. I never drink alcohol. I'm aware of where it might lead. Like I know that those things can be poison. I'm aware that like if I want to be thin, I'm not supposed to eat junk food all the time. And lots of people don't have that like care, I guess.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's a rant. I shouldn't go there. But I think the important things I will enter into my life, but mostly, yeah, like cleaning, cooking, decorating too is hard. I do it with the help of my mom. Like my mom will push me to go shop for little decorations, and so I'll buy pillows and I'm happy. But it's those are all things that I'm really not concerned with, but I do feel some sort of guilt. Like I still want to be respected, I guess, in the eyes of others. That if they
Mhm.
come to my house, they wouldn't be like, "Oh, you are so irresponsible. You are so like." They would be like, I would appear normal. Look
Mhm.
how clean my house is and cozy.
Mhm.
So I guess I do it for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. what is it that like what are the things that you really uh would like to improve and be better at?
Oh, yes, that's a good question. All right, so in my relationships,
Hmm.
I am demanding in the sense of I think I'm too intense and I have too high standards and I demand of the people around me to be really like honest and emotionally healthy and to confront their shit. I'm really against like victim mentality, and a lot of people around me can sort of complain a lot, complain and complain and complain and complain again without ever finding any solution. And I can see all the defense mechanisms that explain that. And I think I also take responsibility for others' emotional problems, I guess, or if they're sad or something makes them sad or anxious or whatever, it's like I have to fix it for them. But I think it's a bit too much. And it's also one of the reasons why I'm not really social. I have a hard time just being, just talking about little things, just I guess being interested in their stories of the recipes they've cooked and what the neighbor said and what their coworker said. I don't know. And I know that sounds maybe arrogant or whatever, but I just feel like I'm not flowing enough or like chill enough with the people around me. And so I'm trying to develop not my empathy, because I think my empathy is strong, but my compassion for who they are and that they're different and that I should just accept their state, I
Yeah.
guess.
No, I understand that. I actually relate to that a lot. Um,
Yes.
hmm Yeah. There's a lot
Okay,
certain
cool.
things I just don't want to hear people go on about, you know. But I
Yeah,
tend to just smile and
there
act
you
like
go.
I'm enjoying it.
I do that if it's a stranger, but up to a point, it's like stronger than me. I have to say yes, but take their perspective, blah blah blah. You also do that. That can affect them that way. It's like it'll come out of my mouth, even if I want to or not.
Hmm.
And it just puts me in this weird position. I just wish I was more like live and let live, you know, like yay, everything's fine. You can complain forever and be a victim forever, and
So
it
it
doesn't
sounds
matter.
yeah, it sounds like you have a hard time like I guess in a sense you have a hard time facilitating for other people when like it's something you don't enjoy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So I'm getting what you're saying here. Yes, it won't show. Like when I'm social, I will be sort of kind and everything. I'll listen. I'll be like, oh, this is so interesting. I'll smile a lot and everything. But it's lying. It's full-blown lying. I do not care. I would rather be somewhere else.
Does it bother
And
you're coming
uh
does it bother you that you're coming off this way? And
no,
when you say it's not true?
here like right now, you
Well, no, I mean in general, like you're saying that when you
mean? Yeah.
interact with other people and
Mhm.
you're engaging them, it's lying, is
Yes.
what you said. So I'm curious
Yes,
if
it
that
is lying.
bothers you.
No, not really. I think that's just the proper way to be. Like I think we all have the power to make someone feel heard and happy and important.
Mm.
And I think I value that a lot. It just happens on its own. I think it's important to like really that the person is heard. And I think also that might be a problem. I truly care like when they have a problem or something and I'm truly trying to fix it for them and make them see it in a way that they'll finally feel at peace. And so then I think it's strangely more important to me than it is to them. Like they're just venting or they're just talking or I don't know, but I'm like invested or something. No, I think in general, it's just a way you should be. Anyone like we're in a group and someone becomes really like, I don't know, like angry or pissed or disagreeable or I don't really appreciate that. I'm not sure it's necessary. There are ways to bring things if you disagree, but I'm more into like making other people feel good. So it is lying. I think what bothers me is that it feels like that with most of my relationships. In well, that's normal. I feel like that even with the closest people around me. There you go. I would think that that's what bothers me. I'd like to be more real. I'm trying with my dad these days instead of hiding behind a smile and everything's fine. How are you? And listening for an hour. I'll try and talk about my pain. and my wounds. Obviously, it's like, but don't worry, Dad. I'm all good. Like I'm okay. I just want to talk about it because I have to reassure him. But I'm trying to be more honest
Mm,
in my close relationships. Yeah.
mm. In your close relationships. Yeah, I think that's
Yes.
good. Would you say you value your close relationships quite a lot?
Do I value my close relationship? I guess so. I guess so. Well, my parents are
Why do you
important
say
to
I
me.
guess so? That kind of surprises me.
Uh, how can I explain this? It's a bit bizarre. Sometimes they feel more like study cases than they do like true connections.
Okay.
So obviously I care, but I care about my parents a lot. Like I love them,
Mm,
but I could love someone else too, I guess, or I don't know how to explain how I view it. I really love them, and but they're not as central to my life, I think, as they could be.
mm. And what is more central to your life? What is more central to who you are?
Oh, that is a good question. That is a really good question. I think what's more central
Mm,
was mostly what I do every day, and it's trying to understand.
mm,
That's more central, trying to understand everything. Not just my parents, anyone I meet, or just society in general. Why do people react that way? Why do I react that way? What is it to be human? Why are we here? And think I think that's those things are more important to me. And so that's why I'm always alone because I don't put that much effort into my relationships.
mm.
And that's probably why I don't have friends, you know.
Tell
I
me
should
more
put
about
more
that.
effort.
I'm very curious about what you were just talking about. Why are we here? Things like that. I'd like to hear you talk about that.
Oh, sure. Well, when I was younger, I truly realized I was going to die, and it wasn't just like uh oh, we die, because I try and talk to people, hey, we're gonna die, and it seems like they're not understanding it for real. Like but I did, and I saw. Well, I had this vision of like our sun exploding, and so even if we colonize Mars, we're all dead, right? Humanity's just dead and done. And then I would see eternity afterwards, just time going on forever. And I was terrified of just being stuck in eternal consciousness and what that meant. And I do hope that when we die, we're nothing. But there are all these philosophies that say that we have this soul and we can reincarnate, but all those things we can't really know for sure, even though there are people who have near-death experiences. It could be hallucinations, it could be like little activity in the brain, giving them signals or whatever. And I'd love to know what's after this. But anyway, it scared me for a while, and it did create like some sort of existential crisis. Like, why am I here? Why am I me? Why am I luckier than other people too? That was a big question because lots of people suffer terribly.
Why are you what?
Um, luckier. Like,
Luckier.
why are some people luckier, right? Is it the idea of karma or not? Are we here to learn lessons simply? And even the greatest souls could suffer terribly because they are the ones able to learn the lesson. I had all these questions, and I think now I'm less afraid of it, and it does allow you to see what's important or not. Like your ego doesn't take as much of a place, the materialistic ego, because there was a time where I wanted to be the next Katy Perry or the next Taylor Swift. My parents were musicians, and so I wanted to be a singer.
Mm,
And it was really ego driven, and it helped me sort of dissolve all of that. Um, and so, yeah, the meaning of life is something, obviously, I don't think you can find an answer. I tried to see it more like, oh, maybe it's evolution, growth, gaining consciousness, becoming more lucid, wisdom. That seems to be a theme in many religions or philosophies, but also just in life, the way life works. It
mm,
seems to be like a goal, survival, you could say, but not just survival, making things better in a sense. And I guess then meaning is personal. You have to find your own answer. And the flip side to that is that you're sort of detached from what most people, not everyone, but most people, the people I am with, they do care about things that are just not important in the grand scheme of things. And they're not aware of how little it's just not important who you are, what your name is,
Do you
shit
tell
like
them
that.
that? Do you tell them like your name
Uh,
is unimportant to the grand scheme of
no, I don't. No, I keep
tell
all
them
of that to
about all the
myself.
things you like, but it's unimportant in the grand scheme of things. We will all
It's
die
just,
and become universal consciousness,
yes, well,
and
in a way,
nothing will
it's
matter.
just true. Some things matter. Like if you're actually trying to sort of evolve as a person, as I said, grow into consciousness, maybe do shadow work, I guess, or trying to make sense of all of this, becoming a better person, having a more positive effect on the world, leaving it better than it was when you entered it. Those are all things then that have meaning. Just because you're doing it, it's like the type of energy you're sending out in a way. But I think that like, oh, these people don't like me. Oh, this person said this about me. Oh, someone critic me. How can sorry, I
Criticize.
speak French.
No, it's okay.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
So criticized me, and oh my God, it ends my day. I don't my weight, my appearance, how much money I have, what I drive, the amount of people I have, and all of that. It's like I understand, but it comes more from small-mindedness and some sort of emotional wounding.
Mm,
You're much more than that, in my opinion.
mm.
And yeah, maybe also that is why I don't have a lot of friends. But I try and keep that to myself. I don't think I go around just being that depressing. Because to me, it's not depressing. It's actually a very liberating, beautiful truth to know we're all gonna die. And it's just like it is, but it is. To me, it's just, I don't know.
Why is
You
it
just make the
why is
most,
it liberating?
well, exactly for that. All the little things that could truly wound your ego. I'm really talking about the ego that wants to be the best and wants to be loved. Maybe it's only me that has that, but I did have that. And so when you go through these things that feel so important, it's like no one will remember this. We're like little ants, like popping up, dying, and then time goes on and on and on, and doesn't really care about us in a way. Unless you're Christian, then you would think that God cares about you, and that is fantastic. And I would love to be Christian. I'm reading the Bible and everything. It just I can't. I'm not finding the fate, and it sucks, but I still am studying it.
What do you mean by that?
But yeah.
What do you mean by that? You said you're not finding the faith. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm just unable to believe in a God that would be limited. Wait, okay, because I've been thinking a lot about this. I'm studying the Bible. I think it is possible that a God exists, but he spoke through humans that were small-minded and stuck in a context, a specific context, trying to translate a God language to like human stuff. It
Mm,
is possible that through translation, we lost God's wisdom. And so some things in the Bible we look at now and we're like, wow, that is horrible, not moral, not ethical. We can't believe a God would say these words or believe these things. And then if you ascribe to that way of thinking, then you can't really trust the Bible at all, right? What's translated well or not? Where does the word of God end or begin, right? If you start doing that, and then the Bible is sort of not meaningless because you can still find the word of God in it, but how much of it is the word of God?
mm,
It becomes like a really hard exercise in
mm,
that sense.
mm.
So I can't be a Christian because when I look at the Bible, I don't see the words of God. I would think that it would be much less human
Mm,
than it is in the Bible.
mm.
That's obviously my perspective. And yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. That's pretty interesting. I feel like we could probably continue to talk about that, but I think we're gonna,
Uh, yeah, it is interesting. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so you mentioned this thing about, wanting to be like the next Katy Perry or something like that. Like,
Mhm.
um, what that part of you that wanted to be something that was, you know, bigger, like a
Yeah.
bigger personality, a bigger impact, persona, celebrity type of thing. Do you think that you still have that part of you? And, tell me about that.
A little bit. I do still have it, and it's arrogant. I don't find it very humble. So every day I try to humble myself. I do have it. It is a part of me. I did want to be important, and it felt at that time that I knew how singing, and so I created my own song, wrote my own song, composed. I like recorded the songs with my dad. I had a little contact
Mm.
with Interscope Records. It was a great label in the US. I thought I was going to move to Nashville. And then I won a contest to sing my original songs in front of people. And there was like a guy that worked with Celine Dion or something that was being honored. Anyway, it was a bit weird, but I was glad, like, great, I'm going to sing in front of people. And I just felt nothing, absolutely nothing. I didn't like singing. And then afterwards, like people comes like, oh, good job, good job. And it felt like a sea of faceless people. And I saw a long life of utter loneliness, just lonely in the hotel room, lonely backstage, lonely in a tour bus. It's really bizarre, but that's what I saw. It hit me like really hard in the face. And then I was really confused because I always thought I was going to be a singer. Like there was no, that was what I was going to do. And I just dropped it then and there. That just confirmed to me that that wasn't what I was supposed to do.
Hmm. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was sad. It
It
was
was
also a
sad.
bit sad.
Why was it sad?
Yeah, well, I would have liked to keep that passion. I mean, passion, having a passion, a purpose, a goal
What?
like that is so
So why do
nice.
you feel, yeah, tell me what you were just saying. You said having a
No,
passion, purpose. Tell me about that.
yes, it's just motivating. And then that's it. I didn't have any more words.
Hmm.
It was motivating.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily think that that it has to be lonely and someone who comes to mind, which I don't know if you're aware of them or ever heard of them, is Jacob Collier. Are you familiar with him?
I heard the name. I don't see a face, but I've read that name in the past.
He's a musician, and
Hmm.
I find his videos very inspiring. He's a little quirky. He's
Hmm.
like dresses very colorfully in like a bohemian style, and
Yeah.
he's known for just nerding out on music. This is kind of how he gained his following because he knows so much about it, and he loves the theoretical side of music.
Hmm.
But what he does is he goes to these like big he like sells out shows basically. And when he goes
Okay.
there, what he'll do is he'll interact with the crowd and he'll be like, okay, when I put my hands this way, like make this sound.
Yes. Did he
And
do that with like a symphony of some sort?
he does it all the time. That's like what he does.
Oh, I think I know what you're
And
talking
then
about.
he'll like orchestrate the crowd.
Yes.
And so like that to me feels like an example of someone who, I don't imagine
Totally.
as being lonely. I imagine him as being in contact with something a little bit deeper or more spiritual, right?
Well, 100%. And I think that was the difference. He's actually passionate about music itself
Hmm.
and how it brings people together. I wasn't.
Hmm.
And I think that's the difference. I think then I saw loneliness because my goal was to be a thing, not to actually sing. It wasn't a passion for me,
Yeah.
right? And so I think when you're driven by something so external, it does feel empty then. Because when are you ever going to be happy? You need to do it because it's actually something you adore, something that drives you. And I didn't have that. So probably that's what I discovered. I couldn't put it into words like that, but probably I discovered that I actually wasn't fulfilled
You did
by
put it into
singing.
words. I think you put it into words quite well.
Oh, yes. Well, maybe then, but what I saw was like loneliness,
Mhm.
but I think it is more apt to say that it was more like, oh, I'm not this isn't my purpose, you could say. Like I don't have the fire of music
Yeah.
within me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Said you were talking about when you were just talking about that just now, you said that you're not like necessarily driven to do that. But you were describing like, you know, you were describing that drive and like how it seemed like I don't know, I'd like to hear you talk about that. You almost sounded like you there was something more that you were getting at.
Hmm. Really? Okay. Let me dig. a little bit. So the idea of drive,
Never mind.
um, no, no, it's okay. So it's something that I saw, let's say in Jacob, he has that drive, that purpose. He loves it, right? And I think the only thing I would have to add right now that I'm thinking of is how much I long for that drive, but I am still unsure of what it is.
Hmm.
Like this thing that will fuel me, it feels like it has to do with psychology or something, or just well-being or meaning, I guess, or how to create a healthier society, how to be better individuals, how to create better relationships. It just feels like I haven't found like the way or the answer or and so I can't really get there.
Right. Hmm. So
Yeah,
that is something that you like strive for, because this is not something you've mentioned in the rest of this conversation.
that's true.
But the way that you
That's
talked
true.
about it kind of made me feel like there was more there. That's why I asked. But I didn't want to seem
Oh,
like I was digging for something that wasn't there. So that
oh,
was
I understand.
right.
But yeah, I think all of this research and this obsession, it's like I am looking for an answer all the time. I always thought that one day then I thought maybe like a life coach,
Mhm.
but the impression of it being like too simple, like, oh, I have this recipe that will solve all your problems. I really detest that. And so in my mind, I will be much older, probably in my 60s or my 70s, and I will have actual wisdom, intelligence mixed with experience, right? So actual wisdom I will have reflected enough. In my head, it's like it's not now, it's later, and right now I just have to make sense of all of it and finally find like answers that will actually help, not just be simple and easy. And I don't know, I think of like Mel something. Poor Mel. I don't want to be mean to her. Sorry. I don't know if you know her. She's blonde. She's a life coach. Anyway, I'm sure she helps people, but I feel like sometimes these types of life coaches, it's just too simple. Anyway, no one
Mel is
knows
actually a
Mel.
subscriber of mine. She's going to see this video.
No, I know this is so stupid, but I don't like talking bad about people that do so much for others. Like she's
Yeah.
clearly trying to help,
It's not
so
what you
I try
want,
to.
right?
Yeah, it's not what I want to talk about badly. You mean?
Well, I just meant like it's not like her version of life is not like the version of life that
Yes,
you're wanting.
yes. Something a bit deeper would be great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, hmm. What do you mean when you say something deeper?
Hmm. Root causes. So instead of being like, it's a bit like, oh, do you know metacognition or metacognitive therapy?
No, tell me more.
I discovered that when I was doing my bachelor's degree in psychology. I was doing this research project and I found that thing and it's amazing. So it's really, instead of doing the usual classical cognitive behavioral therapy, where you take your thought, that one thought, and then you solve it and you do exposure therapy and you sort of change your way of viewing the thing. You go to your mode of thinking, which is metacognition, and there you have beliefs that keep you into worrying constantly. So even if you fix that one thought, another one's going to pop up all the time because you are wanting to ruminate to be sure that, for example, you will not make a mistake again, or you'll always see bad events before they happen. It'll keep you safe. And so you have these sort of beliefs that just keep you constantly in a state of despair, anxiety, depression. And so when you're trying to solve it by just going one little thought at a time, it will never get solved. What you have to do is actually go to the root cause. And often these types of beliefs, it just stems from, you could say trauma, I guess, like childhood trauma, shit like that. So this is an example of, I think some life coaches are going to that one area, you could say, or like a surface level problem, and they're like, solve that surface level problem like this. But they're not going underneath to the root of all these surface problems. And that's what makes me feel like it isn't deep enough. It doesn't actually transform who you are. Transformation is really important. It just like puts little plasters and the wound is still bleeding. That's what it feels like.
Hmm.
That's what I mean by deeper.
Hmm. Okay.
But some do it well. Some do it well. I do believe I'm not. Yeah. Do
Some
I
do.
sound arrogant?
No,
Hmm.
no, you don't sound it.
Okay.
Um, hmm. I there was something else I want to ask you. Oh yeah, I want to hear you talk about the esoteric. You
Okay.
you have some tarot on your shelf. I saw that.
Yes, I was obsessed with tarot for a while.
Hmm.
Obsessed with it. I studied it a lot. Um, I think I'm interested in it. I am, and I still am. I'm interested in spirituality and everything, but I think that some people take it too materialistically.
Hmm.
And so they sort of think that these things that are words that we're trying to conceptualize something that is invisible and it's not real. A bit like we're talking about angels, which is probably some sort of symbolism or an energetic vibe, you could say. But people will say the literal angel Michael came to talk to me yesterday. Like the lack of capacity, and it is in development too. I think it's Piaget, right? The idea that like you have to first you have concrete materialistic thinking, and to have that abstract thinking that understands that things are not necessarily material takes more development. And so sometimes what I don't like about the esoteric and the spiritual realm is like going to things like, oh, there's this thing like star seeds, and you are from that planet. I think it's reptilians. You are a reptilian from that planet, and uh, Donald Trump is a reptilian. Things like that. It just goes a bit too far, like a bit too far-fetched, a bit too. We have science for a
Okay.
reason, not to
Yeah.
stay close-minded, but to actually know when things are just lies and untrue.
Right.
And so I don't know why I went there, but I do like esotericism with certain limits.
Yeah.
Certain limits.
So
Yeah.
you don't think I'm a reptilian? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, exactly. Like if you were to take it symbolically, I could get it. Like, and I hope you're not a
Oh, cool.
reptilian because they're evil. Huh?
What? You're gonna call them
They're
rept?
evil. Yes, so
I
they
identify
are.
as a reptilian.
You can identify as anything now, and we'll all say okay. So, um, but
That was good. That was good.
but yeah, but the reptilians, yeah, they're like this evil star people. There are different like populations of aliens, and the
Hey, but
reptilians are the ones that are angry.
you're ultimately saying you don't like necessarily enjoy all this.
No, no, I just think it's nonsense
Yeah. Okay.
because they believe it is an actual thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, this reminds me, well, so I agree with you,
Okay.
because I do think that the Bible tends to, you know, I guess my opinion on this is that back then the cognition of humans were different. And so
Hmm.
I don't think that they had developed or articulated like a lot of words for like more abstract concepts. They just knew, I mean, they're more survival oriented. They're going to know more about like reality,
Hmm.
um, and like less so
Yes.
about like, different conceptualizations of it. So I think like,
Hmm.
that's why you see like God is referred to as the Father, and like the people as like the children of God. It's like another way of saying like an individuated part of conscious the universe or whatever. Um, and so, I do think that a lot of these terminologies or words um, have been sort of placeholders to convey meaning like that the father comes first, right? The father is above. The father is more knowledgeable. The father is, it's like all of the things that a father is, in a sense, is what's being conveyed. Um, but that's the language they had to do that. I don't think that
Yeah.
they were like, you know, God is the fundamental reality of consciousness that pervades all of existence. And, I don't think that they
There
were
you
talking
go.
like
That
that,
is very true.
you know.
Yeah,
Um, so, but um, but yeah, so that's my take on it. Um,
I agree.
that's interesting though. Another thing that you said that reminded me of something else was
Mm.
You're talking about this thing that is trying to be described, but it's not something that you can like necessarily put words to. There's this song. Are you familiar with Evanescence?
Yes,
Yes. So you know Amy Lee.
yes.
Amy Lee has this song that I find extremely beautiful. It's called Love Exists. Have you ever heard that?
Can I write it on my computer? I
Yeah.
want to write it right away, not to forget it.
Yeah.
Love exists.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
called
I'll watch it later.
yeah, it's called Love Exists, and
Yes.
it describes love. I'm actually going to take a moment to show you this because I think it's pretty cool.
Mm.
Also, people may watching it may enjoy it. Um, but it describes it, and it kind of does it in this like almost like it's an exploration. It says it can be
Oh,
born.
that's good.
Says it can be born anywhere in the last place that you'd expect, in a way you'd never dream. It can grow from nothing and blossom in a second. It says things like love can make you scream and it can leave you speechless. Um, it says love has 1,000 stems but only one flower. Um, it says love has no fear, love has no reason. It says
Yes.
um, love is never wrong and never needs a reason. It can make you better. It can change you slowly and give you everything you want and ask for nothing in return. Uh, it's like it just sort of the whole song is just about exploring that what it is. Um, so I just thought,
Trying to put into words
yeah,
something that's so wordless, that could be
yeah.
so many things. Yeah, and it is difficult to describe love. And
And
so she's trying with all,
what better
yeah,
person to sing a song like that than Amy Lee, who is so passionate
yes,
and has such a deep like resonance to her, Um, and
she is very different.
you think about like the song Lithium, or you think about like what she's known
Mhm.
for, the song she's known for, and it's usually like very deep in terms of like I guess what I'm trying to say is like her tone is deep. But
Yeah.
this is actually very light. It's a little bit of a different feel for her, but still very cool. So I thought that was
Yeah,
really
it's like very positive, you could say, like it, right? Because it's almost sweet the way she describes love. There's something like it just grows, it just blooms. It isn't really like bleeding as
mm,
much as her other songs. You can feel the
yes,
bleeding more.
pain, right?
Or yes, exactly. There's
Yeah.
no pain in those lyrics. Yeah.
So I thought that was worth sharing. Hmm. Okay,
Yes.
so I want to kind of go back to something to get us back on
Okay.
track. Um,
Yes.
so earlier when we were talking about, your relationships, you sort of, uh, I asked you if you value your relationships, and you were like, well, and that's what led this down this path, right? It seems
Okay.
you are a lot more, you feel a lot more conviction about these types of topics and like this type of stuff than like your relationships, right? It sounds like this is something that has a lot more depth of meaning for you. Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Hmm. Okay.
I love the people around me. It's just yeah, it's not that much in my consciousness as this other stuff. That's where I find more what my where my attention goes to,
Hmm.
I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I know your type. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, I think I figured it out. So I will say that through most of the interview, or at
Hmm.
least the beginning, I definitely thought that, there were a couple I was picking between. Um,
Okay.
but there was one that I thought you were for a while. And it wasn't until we got into this like most recent conversation or like topic that it became clear that that was not the case. And it's because they're very similar types. So um, I'm I think you're an IEI, which is the same type as me actually. Um,
Okay.
so generally, IEIs are pretty abstract personalities. They are looking to, build a understanding of the world around them, typically on a more metaphysical level. Um,
Mhm.
you, at first glance, I think from a lot of what we talked about, I got the impression that you might have been like a cousin type that is a lot less interested in these things, but is capable of doing them. Um,
Yes.
but because this is something that is so central to you and that you would say is even more important than like, your relationships in your life, I would say that
Mhm.
this is a good indication that you are a IEI. So, but basically, just to break it down, since yeah, are you familiar
Yes.
with IEI or do you know anything?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's NI with FE, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
And so what do you know about the type? Just so I'm not.
Well, I'll be really honest. I have been typed by different people, always extroverted for one. And so I'm really glad for the introversion. I honestly, like, I do believe I am an introvert. My whole life is introverted. I get it. I can talk a lot. I can be animated. So perhaps that makes me look extroverted. But fudge, I'm always alone. I'm always at home. I never do anything. I'm afraid of the world. Like, I'm a classic introvert. It's insane. Anyway, so I'm really glad you picked up on that, even though I may be like, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I read the profiles in Socionics a lot, and the only type that fits me, I hesitated between IEI or EII, but often, like with EII, the rationality of it felt too rigid for me, and the compassion and the sweetness of EII felt a bit too soft. I can be a bit moody. Anyway, so I would think, like, if I was honest, I always thought that that was my type.
Hmm.
But I think that since I had never been typed that, I was like, oh shit, maybe like I'm not that, I don't understand, and all these other types just don't fit. They never fit. For one, I'm not an extrovert. It's clear. Like no one around me is like, you're an extrovert. It's clear I'm an introvert. Everyone agrees.
Mhm.
So anyway, but yes, I do know a bit about IEI.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that it was pretty clear, yeah, early on that you were one of three types. And
Okay.
the ones that stood out to me were, IEE, EII, and IEI. Those were the three. And then
Hmm.
it became more and more clear as we went in that it was honestly, I thought EII was probably the most likely. Um,
Hmm.
But the thing is, so I definitely was on introvert for most of it. Just, the thing is like all of these types that I mentioned have a capability in, being expressive and keeping an atmosphere
Yes.
light. It's just, whether they care about it or whether it's important to them or, that's sort of the
Hmm.
different thing.
Hmm.
So, but but yeah, I think there's a for EIIs, I will say, because you were saying that they can be like a little too soft or a little too gentle, or
Yeah.
I know that they can be a little bit stubborn as well, and can be
Yes, rigid in a way.
yeah, and moody.
Okay, okay, sure.
So I've seen that from EIIs, but the main difference that you're going to see is that for them, their bonds and their relationships are very important. And they don't necessarily have this striving to understand like reality on a deeper level, or like they're not like
Yeah.
very meta oriented. They're ethically oriented or ethically inclined. I think that they're certainly interested in talking about, like what people think about whether something's right or wrong, or like, maybe
Hmm.
even a little bit of meta talk around that. But generally, the II is the one that's sort of trying to understand this like fundamental meaning or reality, or, you know, and another part of that, and one of the reasons why I hadn't seen IEI at first was because IEIs are striving to like have like an impact,
Hmm.
gain a sense of intensity, I suppose you could say, to their life, and and the drive to move forward and push forward and make conform the world to, their standard, I suppose you could say. There's an aspect of IEI that has to do with that, but I felt like talking to you, that was not immediately clear. Um,
No, I know.
yeah. So
I
I
think I hide my intensity a bit. I do. I try to make it light and
so
but
tell me
it
about
comes
that
out as
because yeah, I'd like to hear you address that. That's it.
hiding the intensity.
Yeah. Or the intensity
Well,
that no one watching knows about.
yeah.
It was hidden.
Uh, it is hidden, and I'm pretty good. Even on my YouTube channel, I don't think it's that apparent. I think I'm very aware of how I can affect other people, right? I'm aware of the type of energy I want to bring to someone, and so I want to be light, and I want to be kind, and I want to be received well in a way too. And it's something that's the intensity is very apparent to people who know me and are close to me. They can find me complex and deep and really kind, but mysterious. They would say they would call me mysterious.
Mhm.
This intensity is always there, and it's tough to manage. And it's a bit like and honestly, to have the SC suggestive, is that the spot with SC here? It would make a lot of sense because in my life, being overwhelmed by sensory stimuli is one of the biggest problem I have. Like I get a lot of anxiety from going outside, the lights, the movements and the sounds. And I don't know if that could fit in SE suggestive, but I am easily freaking overwhelmed and I get super anxious. And so that adds a bit of layer to the intensity. It's not just emotional, but I always related a lot to Jean Grey in X-Men and in the movies where she gets like so overwhelmed and she explodes and kills someone. I felt like, oh, this could be so me. Or Scarlet Witch in WandaVision. You
Yeah.
know, when she explodes in that series and all this energy comes out and she builds this fake reality, I was like, there you go. That is exactly what it feels like to have that sort of
Yeah.
intensity, I guess.
That's a very like IEI type of show. I loved
I
that.
think so too.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. I really understood her. And I thought it was so great, like the idea of a different reality and
Yeah.
everything. How cool would that be?
It was like,
Dangerous.
yeah, yeah, very dangerous, very cool.
Hmm.
Like the whole idea that like something could go into like this field and it would change the properties and like its meaning in the
Yes.
world. And it would like go in and become like, oh, like for example, I think there was a secret agent or something, and he went in and he became a beekeeper on the other side because like that reality just did not
Yes.
secret agent.
No,
Yeah.
it was so cool.
If you're watching this and you haven't seen WandaVision, it's a pretty cool show. It's all about this
It
like
is.
who has like powers, like meta powers, and she can change reality, but like she's like struggling with like losing her dead husband, and so like she's created this world where he can exist as like a
Hmm.
fiction. It's super, super interesting. It's a Marvel show.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, so yeah, but when talking to you, you know, you had all of the it appeared to me, or it seemed apparent that you had all of the functional strengths of those types. So if you're not aware, both of those have the same strength. They have four-dimensional Ni, they have four-dimensional Fi, they have three-dimensional Fe, they have three-dimensional Any. So
Yes.
it's just more so about what your values are, really, and then how those placements are aligned or positioned. Something that
Hmm.
you really appeared like an EII because EIIs are really focused on this, like they're really focused on their direct experience and they're really focused on creating something that means something to them personally. And they are, that whole orientation is quite significant for EII. I think that that's why it really appeared at first that this was the case, but there were little tells, small little tells going through it. where I was like, I don't know that you answered that where it sounds like you're saying it's not as important. And so
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna have to collect more evidence. And then thankfully I found this, right? I found these conversations. So, that whole thing, I'm sure you know a little bit about introverted logic,
Yes.
from
Laws and structure and things like that.
yes. And so
Yes.
this is not something that EII has much interest in. It's more something that, if they might feel some pressure and they can sort of perform to meet the expectation of some sense of, for them, it's more like they're so caught up in their own subjectivity, that,
Ooh. Uh-uh.
that like when someone kind of questions them on it,
Mm.
they can be like, oh, well, actually, this is like how things are. And they sort of reframe it back to like introverted logic. Whereas like IEI has a very different position on this. It's sort of like a obsession or like a very clear focus on like what they're developing and building. And so that like model of the world or existence or them or their sense of self, is something that they're building. Um, and so that's a big part of IEI. And they're not really focused. They're not really like they're not like exploring necessarily. That's one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I think confuses people with IEI is that
Yeah.
it feels to an IEI, feels like to me I'm exploring and very like,
Yes.
I have lots of ideas and this is something that I would say about myself. But I think that
Actually,
yes, it's very narrow, right? Like there
yeah.
is it the reason that I am interested in the things I'm interested in is because they speak to me. And so I will tunnel in on those things and then I'll try to build a
There you go.
bigger picture, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so this is something that sort of defines this type. Um, Ultimately they want to make an impact. They want to have I guess you could say a sense of presence and exert control or willpower on their environment. I think that they find those people quite admirable, and tend to enjoy surrounding themselves with people who are like that. um,
Mm-hmm.
in socionics it used to be said, I think, a lot more frequently that those people can take care of those things for you. And while that certainly may be true, I think that practically in our lives, what we find is that we learn a lot about how to do that ourselves from those people. And so it's
Yeah.
it's never going to be, it's likely never going to be as good as theirs.
Probably not.
It's so
No.
natural to them, um, it is something
Yeah.
that we pick up from them over time. And so. Um, Meanwhile, you should be very capable in managing your relationships. That should
Mm-hmm.
come naturally to you. It should not be something that you find difficult. That's the cool thing about the demonstrative function, is that it's like the
Yeah.
superpower you have, and you don't even care about it. It's just like it seems to take care of itself, and
Mhm.
I think it's cool because it's kind of like this thing that like you're like bragging about without really knowing you're bragging about it because other people who have a hard time with it would just see that like you just like it's just like not a problem at all and you shrug it off.
Yeah.
And that just is so badass in my opinion. Um, but
That is good.
that's one of my favorite positions. But
Mm.
yeah, so that's how it is for the IEI. They should not struggle with that sort of thing. And meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
they're very expressive personalities and can find themselves expressing in all kinds of different ways, whether it be, music, whether it be poetry, whether it be just the way that they are. I have these moments where I think at my job with the people that I work with, I've gotten a lot more comfortable lately. And so I start to see these sides of myself come out that I don't even know where they come from. It's like,
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
that's
like,
very true.
it's so odd. The other day I did like have you seen The Witcher?
Yes, of course. Yes, I played it too. Really love The Witcher.
I was at
Yeah.
work and I was on like a lunch break and some
Hmm.
guy was over here and he was playing video game and I know him and I know he knows The Witcher. but like just because like he likes that kind of stuff. And
Yes.
I I was like out of nowhere, I don't know where it came from, but like I jumped up and I ran over there and I went to his shoulder and I was like, toss a coin to your witcher. And then I went to the other side and I was like, oh, Valley of Plenty. It's like, oh, Valley of Plenty. And I was like, oh, whoa, like over his head. Like, I have no idea where this came from. Like,
And I
actually,
really understand.
yes.
Hmm.
Actually, after the fact, I was like, I don't even, like, it's almost
What's
like
this?
it just took me over. Like, I
Yeah.
had no idea it was about to come out because, like, I probably wouldn't have done it, honestly. Like, I'm like the kind of
Hmm.
person, like, there's no logical reason. Like, I'd just be like, why would I do that? Like,
Yeah.
but like, it burst out of me. And next thing you know, I did this whole musical number around him. And like with no thought to what anyone else thought or what was happening around me. Uh, and so it's just these bursts of sporadic expression that you'll see with IEI as well. It's characteristic to the type. So you found that relatable?
Yes, that FE that's out there, it's not always used, but it's there. And yes, the more I guess at ease you were with people, you're not as focused on like I guess that NITI sort of inner world or something. I don't know. But yes, the more at ease you are, you have like these spurts of emotions that with me, people are often surprised to get to know me of how like alive I can be and but only if I'm comfortable. But they'll be really surprised because they see me as this sort of more introverted, calm, like quiet, kind sort of person.
Yes.
And so I really relate to that. And then you sort of wonder, wow, where does that come from? That's not me. I'm not that confident sort of showmanship person.
Yeah.
And then it turns out you are in a certain way.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I would really say that the beginning of this video, you really gave me the impression of
Mm.
you seemed so much like an EII. Um,
That's weird, right?
yeah. Um, I,
Yeah.
I I really thought that like I just had to justify it. Like you can look like an EI, it doesn't mean you are one, right? Like so at the end of the
Why?
day, like I have to dig in and ask you more detailed questions and try to actually make sense of it.
Hmm.
And then, I find out that that's not the case at all. Um, yeah, I
But
think
they're similar, right? A bit. They're
they are
similar,
very
those two
similar.
types.
Yeah, they are very
Yes,
similar.
like in the vibe or
Yes, yeah,
so.
exactly. I mean, they're good with people. They're idea oriented.
Hmm.
They're pretty similar. But this like they're just not going to be as focused on, sort of like the meta type of things. So that's I mean that's honestly just in terms of like looking at the difference between them, like on a more
Yeah.
that's the main thing. I mean, just seeing the way that you'd see them, that's the way they are very different. The one's very expressive and that they're the II is very expressive and the II is very focused on like the abstract and the esoteric and things like that. So um
Hmm.
yeah, very cool.
But I think it makes sense. And you said I was typed by someone else in Socionics, well, Jack from World Socionic Society. And he typed me as EIE. No, yes, EIE. So
Mm,
the extroverted version.
mm,
And it's like I could see I was like, oh, I think he's
mm,
onto something. Like I can see the NI, the FE, but
mm,
it doesn't drive me. And I would read the profiles and I try to really make it fit, but I'm not like the extroverted, super expressive, like leading type of person. And it just didn't feel like my center at all. So
mm,
I really think this is the right type for me. Like I've been typed ESTJ in the past by other systems, and that just doesn't work at all. When you go into Socionics, which is much clearer in the functions, it makes no sense for me to be an ESTJ
mm,
or ENFP. I've been typed to, and
mm,
I think that maybe what you saw in the beginning, probably maybe I have ADHD or like I don't know, and so it may look any like oh I love exploring and I love it, perhaps that looks a bit EII, IEE, but I knew it was in my center and I was like, no, these types don't work. I don't know if I'm crazy or perhaps I don't see myself well. And so it was like being typed by you was kind of like the last time I wanted to be typed by someone. I was like, I'm gonna try this one last time because like I was watch your videos and you're very good, like you know your stuff and that's always nice. And so it just feels good that you're seeing the introversion, and I do think that that is the one that if someone were to say this person is IEI, they would guess lots of things about me. They would be right about most of the things they would guess, versus the other type where they would just really just flow right past me and not know me.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't that a good clue of a good type,
Oh yeah.
right?
I think so. Yeah, certainly. I think
Yeah.
that a lot of times you'll see that people will say, "Oh, well, like I'm a more extroverted IEI," or something like that. I don't know. Like,
Yes, you try to argue around the
yeah,
type. Yes,
exactly.
when it's
And
bad.
and and I think, there's that, but also like I think just generally like that's why like subtype exists, right? Like people are like trying to justify like a difference. Um
Yes.
and and I, it doesn't necessarily have to be used that way. I remember that like I did like have like on my server, on my Discord server, like a long time ago, like years ago, I did have like a subtype option, and you could put like I would put NI just because like I'm so NI heavy, but like I wasn't necessarily saying I was like different from IEI, like other IEIs, but like
Yeah.
I know not everyone's using it that way, but I just don't think it's necessary. It's not like really adding any value to like be like, oh, like I'm an NI, IEI, or an FE. Like,
Yes,
you
I
know what I mean?
understand.
Like,
And if it's used once you already have a solid typing, it's totally fine. Maybe it just says I'm a bit more an I heavy, so maybe more introverted perhaps than other IEIs in the
yeah.
spectrum of all
I mean,
IEIs. It could
yeah,
be that.
yeah.
But when you're trying to justify something, it's like, oh, I'm so introverted, so I'm probably EIE NI subtype.
Mhm.
So it makes me really introverted and afraid of people sometimes. And there it becomes like you're just trying to argue something that just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. And it's frustrating. And so, yeah, I'm quite happy about this.
Yeah. So you had read about II before, and you
Mm,
felt like it was it
Me 100%.
yeah, but you just
Yeah.
wanted confirmation.
I guess so. I wanted to because I want to be like objective in a way. I think sometimes you can sort of
Yeah.
run circles around yourself. Is that an expression? I don't know. I just said that. But yeah, I guess I just wanted a confirmation that it was me. And also just to finish because I'm seeing the time. So I've noticed that a lot of people who sort of start their theory say they are NI all the time, and they're often INFJs.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, is it possible that some of these people, not all of them, but some of them are maybe skewing the theory because like everyone wants to be INFJ in MBTI, so NIFP for some reason. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah, I have noticed that, but I will tell you
It's
that that's
bizarre.
not the case in Socionics. Uh,
There you go. It's really
yeah,
not the same thing at all. It's much
yeah,
more, I think, again, because the definitions are much clearer and more loyal to Young, too,
right,
I think. Even
yeah,
though it's different from Young, it's
right,
still much more loyal to his original work. And so, yeah, I think it's just a better system overall.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so this was really good. I really enjoyed this. I'm glad that you were able to find some clarity, and of course, if you have
Yes.
questions, you can always reach out, and I'll send you a link to the Discord as well so that you can join.
Yes, I would love that. Yes, that would be cool.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you very
All right.
much.
Well, hey, it was a pleasure. You have a great rest of your day.
Yes, it was a pleasure too. Yes, thank you. Have a good day too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.